Gradus Maxima.
I'm Nolan, your humble Hufflepuff.
And I'm Celia, wise bride of Ravenclaw.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Theories. We see Albus Dumbledore as this, almost legendary figure, the wise headmaster of Hogwarts. But what about the years before that? What was he like as a young wizard? What shaped him? And, what secrets did he hold?
Ooh, secrets. I like it.
That's our deep dive today, uncovering the hidden life of Albus Dumbledore before he became headmaster.
You're right. We tend to just think of him already, fully formed.
Yeah.
But he had a whole life before Hogwarts, a life full of challenges and, triumphs that ultimately made him the wizard we know.
And you're going to be surprised by some of this stuff. We've got like family drama, a little bit of forbidden romance, maybe even a Deathly Hallows connection.
Sounds juicy.
Buckle up. This one's going to be a wild ride. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? Early life, childhood.
Yeah.
Everything but magical, huh?
It was a difficult time for young Albus. His father, Percival, was imprisoned for attacking those 3 Muggle boys who had harmed his daughter, Ariana.
Yeah, that left a real dark mark on the family, didn't it? And put a lot of pressure on Albus.
It did, definitely. A lot of burden on his shoulders.
Yeah, and then his mother, Kendra, she was left caring for Ariana, who, never really recovered from the attack.
Right. She was left mentally and magically unstable.
Yeah. So Albus enters Hogwarts with all of this baggage, right?
He does. It really shaped his worldview, and as we'll see, influenced his choices later on.
I can only imagine the whispers. Did people judge him?
Oh, for sure. Definitely judgments. Some people even tried to use the situation to their advantage.
What do you mean?
Tried to win his favor by praising his father's actions, hoping that he might, share those anti-Muggle sentiments.
Wow, so opportunistic. But that's interesting though, isn't it? Because ultimately, he becomes a champion for Muggle rights.
Exactly. It's a fascinating contradiction in his character. One we'll explore more as we get to Grindelwald.
Oh yeah, Grindelwald. That's a name that sends chills down my spine. But before we get to that complicated chapter, let's stick with the early years at Hogwarts. He wasn't exactly a shrinking violet, was he? I mean, from what I've read, he was brilliant from the start.
Oh, he was exceptional, truly. Albus excelled in every subject. Top marks, awards, the whole shebang. Became head boy, won awards for groundbreaking research, even published papers on charms and potions while he was still a student.
Wait, hold on. Published papers as a student, that's next level. Like, genius.
He was a prodigy, no doubt.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, even with all that achievement, he never lost sight of his values. Remember Elphius Doge? His lifelong friend.
Oh, yeah.
Albus befriended him on their very first day at Hogwarts, when Elphius was being ostracized because of dragonpox scars.
So now that's the Dumbledore we know and love, right?
Yeah.
He saw past the scars, saw the person.
It really speaks volumes about his character.
Absolutely. I mean, he could have been, swept up in all the popularity and prestige.
Yeah.
But he chose kindness.
He did.
Compassion. And it makes you think, doesn't it? What are we choosing in our own lives? Are we valuing, the superficial things over real connection, empathy? Just something for our viewers to consider. But enough about Albus, the overachiever. Let's talk about Albus, the heartbreaker. Because this next chapter, it involves a certain Gellert Grindelwald.
Ooh la la.
Things are about to get really interesting.
Things are about to get spicy. This is where it takes a dramatic turn. Their relationship was complex, intense, and dare I say, passionate.
Hold on, are you saying what I think you're saying? This wasn't just like a schoolyard friendship, was it?
From the research we've gathered, it seems their bond went beyond, just the intellectual and magical. Some accounts suggest a romantic connection between them.
Whoa, Dumbledore in love. This changes everything. They didn't cover this in, history of magic class?
Nope, it's a lesser-known aspect of his past for sure, but, the evidence is there.
So 2 brilliant young wizards drawn to each other.
Drawn to each other by their ambition, and maybe a little recklessness, too. They were both fascinated by the Deathly Hallows.
Ah, the Deathly Hallows, those legendary artifacts that, supposedly grant the owner mastery over death. Okay, now it's making sense.
Right. And under Grindelwald's, influence, his charisma, and his revolutionary ideas, Dumbledore found himself on a dangerous path. Maybe paved with good intentions, but ultimately leading to darkness.
For the greater good.
Right.
Yes. For the greater good.
That was Grindelwald's slogan, his justification for power. Chilling how, even brilliant minds can be swayed by that kind of rhetoric.
And that's a lesson for all of us, isn't it? To be critical. question those in power. But this is just the beginning of their story. Their relationship is going to face its greatest test, a test with, well, devastating consequences. The duel that changed everything. It wasn't just wands, you know. It was like ideals clashing, brothers, and it ended terribly.
Tragically.
Yeah, you can't talk about Dumbledore's past without this pivotal moment.
No, you can't. It really ripped through their lives. Albus, his brother, Aberforth, Grindelwald, all three of them, locked in this three-way duel.
Wow.
And it wasn't just a disagreement or some friendly spar, you know. It was fueled by passion, anger, fear.
I bet.
Aberforth, he was always protective of Ariana, his younger sister. He challenged Grindelwald, furious with his influence over Albus.
Makes sense.
I'm worried about the path they were on, you know.
Ariana was killed.
Yes, in the chaos. To this day, we don't know whose spell it was, but the result,
Yeah.
it was just heartbreaking. This wasn't just a duel. This was a shattering loss for Albus, forever.
Yeah.
Imagine that guilt, the what ifs, you know. Knowing his ambition, his love for Grindelwald played a part in her death is a heavy burden.
Unimaginable, really. I can't even fathom losing a sibling, especially like that.
It's tough to think about.
And this basically ended things between Albus and Grindelwald, right?
It did. This wasn't a lover's quarrel. This was a fundamental break. Their paths, their ideals were just incompatible.
Yeah.
The duel was the culmination of it all. Their ambitions. It forced Albus to face the darkness he'd embraced, you know?
Sure.
Reevaluate everything.
It's amazing to me how someone as brilliant as Dumbledore could be blinded like that. By love, by ambition. Shows that even the greatest wizards are human, right?
Exactly. They make mistakes. They're swayed by their emotions.
We all are.
We are. It's a reminder that there's a constant struggle, this balancing act within us between what we desire and our conscience.
That's deep.
So what about Dumbledore after this? How did he cope with all that grief?
He didn't shut down. He looked for solace in knowledge. He dove into alchemy, working with Nicholas Flamel.
Nicholas Flamel, the creator of the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
Alchemy, the manipulation, transformation of matter. What do you think drew him to that?
Maybe he wanted to understand, you know, life and death after such a loss. Or maybe just a distraction, you know. Channel his pain into something productive.
It's a good question. Was he seeking answers? Trying to make amends? Or even, and this is just me speculating,
Go on.
maybe a way to cheat death. We know the Philosopher's Stone grants immortality, and after losing Ariana, who wouldn't be tempted?
Wow. That's a theory. Trying to bring her back.
It's dark, but it makes sense given everything. It speaks to his grief, the lengths he might go to. But whatever his reason, his time with Flamel definitely expanded his knowledge, gave him a new perspective on magic and its power and the responsibility that comes with it.
All these experiences, you know, even the bad ones, they all kind of built up to the wise, powerful wizard he became.
He did.
But eventually, he went back to Hogwarts, right? Back to where it all started.
He did, not as a student this time, but as a teacher. Transfiguration. This is where his legendary teaching career begins, and we really start to see the Dumbledore we know. Brilliant, insightful, and most of all, he could connect with his students, saw their potential, nurtured their talents.
I would love to be in his class.
Me too.
So he's teaching, guiding this next generation. But what about Grindelwald? He couldn't just ignore that, right?
No, Grindelwald was growing stronger, spreading his ideology. The world was on the brink of war.
Yeah.
This couldn't last forever. It was brewing, you know, this inevitable confrontation, a clash that would decide the fate of the wizarding world.
It's like trying to teach kids algebra while there's like a volcano erupting outside.
It's a good image, a pretty accurate one too. Dumbledore was shaping young minds, but always with that awareness of the storm brewing, you know?
Yeah.
Grindelwald gaining power, his ideology spreading. And for Dumbledore, this wasn't some abstract threat, right? It was personal.
Oh, absolutely. This wasn't just some dark wizard he had to defeat. This was someone he loved, shared dreams with.
Exactly. Imagine that weight. Knowing the darkness you're fighting is partly fueled by your own past.
It's heavy stuff.
It adds a whole new layer to their confrontation, doesn't it? It wasn't just stopping a tyrant. It was facing a part of himself.
Yeah. So the showdown's coming, but Dumbledore didn't just sit around waiting, right? What was he doing to prepare?
Dumbledore was always a strategist, always thinking ahead. Remember, he'd defeated Grindelwald before, but he knew this time it wouldn't be a simple duel. This was a battle for, like, the soul of the wizarding world.
So what did he do? Set traps, brew up some crazy powerful potions.
He did something much more profound, something that shows how well he understood people. And his belief in love, in unity, he founded the Order of the Phoenix.
The Order of the Phoenix. Now that's a name that everyone knows.
Right, an elite group dedicated to fighting the darkness, a real beacon of hope.
And it wasn't just about, like, magical power.
No, it was about bringing people together from all walks of life, united against a common enemy, a shared belief in fighting for what's right, no matter the cost. That was Dumbledore, understanding that real power comes from unity, courage to stand together.
Pretty inspiring. He wasn't just powerful, he was a leader, a visionary. This means he was basically leading a double life, right? Headmaster by day, secret warrior by night. How did he even manage that?
Dumbledore was a master of, compartmentalizing, a skill honed over years of dealing with, everything life threw at him.
Right.
He was good at delegating, trusted his staff, and, let's be honest, he was a master of disguise and secrecy.
That's true. Okay, but this wasn't just about preparing for war. It was also when he met a young Tom Riddle, future Voldemort.
Yeah, the boy who'd become the darkest wizard of all time.
Even then, Dumbledore saw the potential for darkness in him, right?
He did. That ambition, that hunger for power. Even then, Dumbledore sensed it.
So, while dealing with Grindelwald, he's already sensing another threat looming, another battle on the horizon.
It's like he's playing chess, always anticipating the next move, several steps ahead. He knew defeating Grindelwald wasn't the end, it was just one chapter closing.
As another, even darker one began. It's amazing how he handled all of this.
Yeah.
But it shows just how extraordinary Dumbledore was. Not just powerful, but wise, shaped by his past, by his losses, but always committed to fighting for the light.
And that's the takeaway, I think. From these years before he was headmaster, he wasn't born a legend, he was made one. By his experiences, good and bad. It reminds us that we all have that potential for both light and darkness.
Yeah.
The choices we make determine who we become.
Well said. So there you have it, our deep dive into the hidden life of Albus Dumbledore. Before the beard, before the legend, it's a story of love, loss, ambition, and ultimately redemption.
It's a reminder that even the most extraordinary people, they started somewhere, faced their own challenges, made mistakes.
It gives us all a bit of hope, doesn't it?
It does. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more magical deep dives. Until next time, keep those wands at the ready. And remember, the chamber awaits.
Lumos Maxima.